Fundamental behaviors has been very important for the YKK companies in the NCA region for a number of reasons. Probably the most important one, I think, is how the fundamental behaviors has become a tool to help us learn more about the YKK philosophy and what lies behind it. How do we live out the core values? How do we fulfill the management principle? Those are important concepts, and there's a lot behind them. The fundamental behaviors take very simple ideas about how we want to behave towards each other, towards our customers, towards our suppliers, towards our community, and lets us talk about that in very real and simple ways in small bite-sized pieces. It's not rehearsed. Therefore, the conversations that we have are always surprising and always interesting.
You know, the fundamental behaviors, they're really not radical. They're things that most of us were raised with, you know, from childhood. So, you know, they resonate inside us, and much like our founder's cycle of goodness philosophy does. So I don't think, you know, they're that hard for us to grasp and really want to think about. In the beginning, was it uncomfortable? Yeah, it was very uncomfortable for a lot of us. But I think that's just natural. As we try something new, you know, we would have to talk with our groups or our teams and maybe start off a meeting. And so, yeah, we kind of wonder how would our comments be received by others and all. But, you know, as we got more comfortable, as we did it, you know, that's the real key, is we were diligent about doing that with our meetings. And I think all of our people became much more comfortable with it, and then they really began to share with us. And I think it's really been an amazing, the experiences you know, they would have that related to that week's fundamental behavior and what it meant to them or how it had changed them. So I think that was very inspiring for us, and so we really get a lot of benefit from that and hearing what the other people think.
The power of the fundamental behaviors is that it allows it to occur, allows those conversations to occur, oftentimes at a peer-to-peer level. So I believe the fundamental behaviors require and will require some continuous reinforcement from a top-down standpoint. But the true power of fundamental behaviors, I believe, as we go through this journey, will be that it'll be a bottom-up or a horizontal or a peer-to-peer engagement on discussion about the framework of the philosophies. I don't see this as an event. And I'm not a big fan of events because they start and they end. And they have a role and a place, but I'm more interested in, I think, journeys and process and culture are sustainable. And this is what I think the fundamental behaviors is all about. And it will eventually permeate, I believe, the entire ecosystem.
The repetitive aspect of it helps us to continuously remind us of what that philosophy is and why we come to work every day. So let's say we're having a meeting about something that may be a difficult topic or a challenging situation. If we start with a discussion about the fundamental behaviors, it really sets a positive tone no matter what the topic of the meeting is, and it helps make the meeting move along that much better. So from that perspective, it's a very good tool to kind of set a positive tone for problem solving during all meetings.
As a leader, I've tended to try to listen more than talk. You know, in a meeting, I may sometimes open it with it, but I find more often than not, I'm not the one that opens the fundamental behavior of the week discussion. And I think that's the way it should be. I have to set a vision or a direction that I feel this is important for the company and our future. The good news is my management team is fully supportive. They understand the concept very clearly. But our role is to create the environment in which it is something we should spend time on and reinforce its importance, but then allow those conversations to really take place more organically?
On our website, we talk about, on the YKK website, we talk about, our cycle goodness philosophy and our core values. And so when we are bringing people in and to the organization, we have so many older generation people, and they kind of understand some of our history. But I think this resonates well with young people today, and when they see these things. But they want something that's real, and so when I'm interviewing people that for most of the time a little bit higher level position, maybe coming in, so I'm talking with them. But I will talk about our core values, and that's when I'll kind of introduce our little fold out on 25 fundamental behaviors. I'll give them a copy of that, and we'll talk about that a little bit, because again, I want them to understand they're coming into an organization that is this is just not our core values, and our cycle of goodness philosophy is just not something on a website or a banner on the wall, but it's really who we want to be. And so I think it's important, for me when I meet these people, to take a few moments to talk about that and share that with them, and let them know this is who we want to be. This is our expectation if they join us, and I think they appreciate that. We also share it with our customers and visitors from the community when they come in, as part of how we introduce YKK to them before maybe we take a plant tour, or maybe we just have some business discussions. Again, we want to reinforce for them that this is real and who we want to be.
YKK has a group that does cleanup voluntarily twice a year, and I feel like when I go out and volunteer, keeping Dublin beautiful, I give them back to the community. Having my family there, and we all working side by side with co-workers that they never met, and it's just a wonderful thing when you can give back to the community. And just sharing YKK's 25 fundamental behaviors, it's great. That's a good thing that they instilled in the company.
One thing that has kept me coming back to YKK is the company founder original philosophy, which was no one prospers without rendering benefits to others. And once I was explained what this meant, it's based on fairness, forgiveness, trust, respect, transparency, and most of all, quality. That's one thing that we preach, and it company-wide, quality. Quality inspires. It sounds corny, but when it gets to you, we want to be in the same shape as it left us.
So my name is and I work for our global marketing group in the New York office. And my favorite thing about working for YKK is the ability to work with people from all around the world. Even in the New York office, we have people from Japan, from Singapore, from all over the U.S. And it's also really great that we get the ability to travel around the world and meet these co-workers of ours that we've been talking every day through email. But it's fantastic to be able to put a face to a name.
I follow the behaviors outside of the workplace in order for me to naturally apply them in the workplace. And we can take, for example, the fundamental behavior for this week, which is lead by example. And I apply it to my 3.5-year-old daughter. And we're constantly just talking about behaviors, what's acceptable, what's not, and just making sure that anything that I tell her is unacceptable behavior, I'm not doing it. So I think that it's important that I follow the behaviors outside of the workplace in order for them to come naturally to me in the workplace.
One of the reasons that I enjoy my job and like working for YKK is, especially in Lawrenceburg, we have such a family environment there. So it's very tight-knit, and you feel like you know that the people there have a genuine concern for one another. It's not just about coming to work and meeting deadlines and doing your reporting timely, but there's a sense of community and family within the organization, and I think that's part of the culture too for YKK as a whole, being the cycle of goodness, the fundamental behaviors, and we're growing on those, and I think actually it's making our relationships with our coworkers even stronger than it would have been before.
Esto no es algo especial ni específico, pero dentro de los 25 valores fundamentales, a mí me gusta proveer una apreciación significativa. Yo siempre pienso que por qué yo puedo vivir aquí, por qué yo puedo trabajar aquí, aprender, disfrutar, hacer todo sanamente, es porque es gracias a todos. Es decir, familia, compañía, jefes, compañeros, subordinados, amigos, maestros. Por esta razón, yo quisiera demostrar una apreciación significativa a todos.
Being 58 years old and spending the last 30 years of my life not being at YKK, I truly am grateful to work at a company that not only has a corporate vision and culture that benefits the community and believes in benefiting the community, but actually lives it out. I've worked 30 years at about 5 or 6 other companies that have had good vision and good core values, but it wasn't part of what we did. It wasn't part of what we talked about. And it definitely wasn't part of our daily activity. So I can truly be grateful for where I'm at in my career today, and I can be truly grateful to be with a group of people who live what they say and say what they believe.
Y bueno, yo aplico los valores fundamentales no solamente aquí dentro de la empresa, sino también fuera. Siempre trato de dirigirme con respeto a la gente y con honestidad. Trato de dar un buen ejemplo a mis hijos para que crezcan siendo buenas personas. Y trato de devolver a la comunidad, de apoyar o de ayudar a la gente cuando tengo la posibilidad. He participado 2 años ya en lo que es la recolección de juguetes para festejar el Día del Niño aquí en México. Recolectamos juguetes por un periodo de 2 semanas y luego los vamos a entregar a la comunidad cercana. Y es muy gratificante ver a los niños, inclusive a la gente mayor, cómo se alegran por recibir un juguete, y que después de eso ellos quieran pertenecer a YKK, ¿no? Siempre nos piden cómo se llama la empresa, están solicitando personal porque están interesados en pertenecer a una empresa como YKK. YKK es una empresa internacionalmente reconocida y yo estoy orgullosa de pertenecer aquí porque no solamente es una empresa que se preocupa por ganar siempre YKK, sino se preocupa por los empleados, se preocupa por la comunidad, se preocupa por proveedores, por clientes.
In my life, I try to remind myself about YKK's fundamental behavior. There are many things that I can learn. One of the behaviors I like is be positive. Sometimes people have to deal with negative events in our life. I used to get discouraged by the negative events, but I also know discouragement doesn't help any of my end result. I believe I have the power to choose my attitude, and I think being positive affects my team performance, family, and myself. Someday, the company may give me another opportunity to go to places that I have never been to before, but I will bring my positive attitude, and I will appreciate the opportunity. I focus on positive way rather than negative way. It may be intentional thought, but it's okay. It's gonna be my habit.